And we are live, sir. Well, not live, but recording.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Big Talk, where two caffeinated and opinionated individuals talk about things that they don't really have any real knowledge of. I'm Lee.
Yeah.
On the other side of the world, well, on the same side of the world, but on the other side of the world to you probably is Matt over there, my co-bro.
Hello there. Hello, co-bro. Hello, everyone.
How you doing today, Matt?
I'm doing all right. I've got a few days off from work, so I'm chilling. I'm getting out and about, catching up on some writing. Life is good.
Love it.
How about yourself?
I'm not doing anything as exciting. I'm just working the 9 to 5 until the end of Friday. Then out of that contract, and then focusing on some projects, making some big moves, Matt. That's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, I didn't know you were departing. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. More time for projects until I need to, make rent again.
Right. I assume you put in your notice, right?
Oh no, it just ended. The contract ended.
Oh, it just ended.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
You didn't poo in public.
I didn't poo in public.
Like that.
No.
Yeah.
Not after last time, Matt. Jesus.
Okay, well, good, because last time it was quite awkward, wasn't it?
Dire consequences from pooing in public.
Yeah, especially considering it was a family restaurant.
Well, sometimes when you got to go, Matt.
True. Yeah. True.
Ew, poo.
Hope we don't talk about poo anymore. Oh, wait, we're probably gonna.
Oh my goodness, was that a segue? Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. Immediate segue.
That was good.
Immediate.
You went right in on that one, Matt.
I did, and so did one of the people we're talking about today.
Yeah. So yeah, what are we talking about, Matt? So you gave me a little idea. You gave me a name, and then I looked at the name, went, huh, and then stopped reading because I wanted to come into this one cold, absolutely cold.
Yes. Well, the name I sent you was musician G.G. Allen.
G.G. Allen. So I brought up a page on this guy. Right, share. Come on, Lee. You know how to do this. There we are.
And I sort of got the idea from another YouTuber who did something about this guy, G.G. Allen, did sort of a biographical video about him.
Okay.
And that's G.G. Allen there with the microphone.
Is that poo or is that blood?
It could be either one, really.
Oh God.
Could be either one. Look at the tattoo on his bicep.
Hang on, I'll annotate it.
Life suck scum. And then FUC, I imagine the K is hidden.
Maybe. And then there's
probably behind a layer of feces.
And then it looks like down here, like a potato chip man.
Is that like a warped tattoo of his own face?
Maybe. Or is it just a big tongue?
It might be a big tongue.
This guy here does not look like he should be there. This guy right here.
He looks like he met. He's like made a bad friend. He's going,
yeah.
Dude, we should go to this gig. You're gonna love it, man. It's gonna change your life.
Yeah.
And he's not happy about it at all.
So this guy's Henry. This guy's Henry. Good Christian boy. He's here with his friend Sal. Now this is Sal. Okay. Now Sal's the friend that you get, and he's, when they say like if if you haven't got a friend who's like really annoying or something like that, you're that friend. Well, that's Sal. Sal's the annoying friend.
He's that friend who you go out with, who you go out for a drink with, and he gets you kicked in the balls.
Yeah. and then you say never again, but then you kind of forget. So that's Sal. Sal's brought Henry. I'll write their names here.
Yeah, there's Henry and Sal.
It's always so hard to write with a fucking thing like that.
Well, behind Henry and Sal, you can see Todd.
This is
That's
Todd.
Todd there.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Todd. Henry doesn't know Todd,
but Sal knows Todd.
But Sal knows Todd. Yeah.
Okay. What's Todd about?
Oh, Todd. Good question. Todd is he's that guy who he's the guy, I think Henry's heard about Todd.
Right, so he's one of them.
From other people. And he's thinking, like, is it that Todd? Is it the Todd who like tortured animals, like the guy who people have warned me about, or is it a different Todd?
Yeah,
it's probably a different Todd, and he's found out tonight that no, it's the Todd that tortured the animals. Yeah,
it's like in later years he'll be like Old Man Smithers or something like that, and you don't go near Old Man Smithers' house because he's seen some stuff.
Yeah, there's always a bit of a smell.
Yeah,
around his house.
Yeah,
and on the far right we have Amanda, who is a man.
Yeah,
who is a man, but he doesn't think that a name should determine anything.
Define
and he's
him.
Like, I'm gonna call myself Amanda. Because why the fuck not?
And what he does,
and Amanda is about to punch Gigi Allen.
So he does it all in caps, the man bit, just as like a statement. And for everyone thinking, this guy is Gigi Allen. Okay,
that's Gigi Allen there.
So let's find out a bit more about Gigi Allen, because I don't know about him at all. So let's have a look.
So this guy, there are some amazing things about this guy.
Well, let me tell you about them, Matt. So his real name was Jesus Christ Allen. His brother started calling him Gigi because he couldn't pronounce Jesus. This then became Gigi. His parents called him Jesus Christ Allen.
That must have been really annoying. Going, someone around you going, Jesus Christ, and you going, yeah,
yes.
Like, not you, Jesus Christ. I mean, the real one,
the proper one who walked on water, the real one, obviously.
So his parents were, before we carry on with that, his parents were like, or at least his dad was like a major, like, sort of fundamentalist Christian.
Okay.
Who actually believed that Gigi was actually believed that Jesus Christ was the second coming of Jesus Christ, I believe.
Right. Okay.
And he was like a horrible bastard who like locked them up and like tortured them and stuff. And like kept them in his house. And his mum, Gigi's mum, sort of like secreted them away.
Right.
Like attempted to a few times and was caught.
Right.
By Jesus Christ's father. Not God. This Jesus Christ. And eventually she succeeded in getting him away.
Now, right, so this guy is a fundamental Christian.
His dad was.
Yeah. He believes that his son is the second coming of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And then he tortures him. Now, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I don't think anywhere in Christian scripture says if the second coming of Jesus comes back and he's your son, you fuck up his life.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I think you've read between the lines.
Yeah. He started taking his own bits from it. Yeah.
He read between the lines and decided, because I think putting my brain in Gigi Allen's father's brain and trying to work out what was going on there, my assumption would be that he's like, you have to be like good and pure and nothing else, and if you're anything but that, I'm going to have to punish you.
Yeah.
Like very, very authoritarian. which
Yeah.
I think informs the later debauchery.
Well, let me go on to point 2. Alan's controversial stage act includes such low-key practices as coprophagia, the consumption of fecal matter, and self-mutilation. Now, I can see a correlation here, Matt. I can see a correlation between the story you told me and point 2.
Mm.
You don't
Very
get away
anti-authority.
that being a bit broken after that and just going, fuck this, I'm not going to, definitely not going to be like my dad. Because, we all get the rebel stage, don't we?
Yes.
From our parents, we're like, don't want to be like our parents, so we'll go against that. Now, I can imagine that's a very scalable problem. If your parents are very moderate, you'll be kind of moderate just on the other side of the fence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If your parents are whack job, then there's going to be some serious issues.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
I'm not,
now,
I'm
I
not
think
a social psychologist or anything like that, but it's just sort of common sense.
It's sort of, exactly. It's sort of common sense, isn't it? Yeah. But he pooed on stage, rubbed it on himself, ate it.
Jesus.
And cut himself, all sorts of stuff. Fought the crowd.
Okay. So this guy was like a punk rocker then?
Punk rocker plus.
Yeah.
Right.
So the next one's a bit lame. His first band were called Little Sisters Date and covered songs by Kiss and Aerosmith. Good choices. I like Kiss. Love them. One of my favourite songs. Love that.
Can you imagine him? Just imagine him singing "I Don't Want to Miss a Thing"
with poo on.
Just imagining that with poo all over him. Yeah.
I'm not going to read the fourth one because we've already been accused of having a few too many swears on here by your father, haven't we? So
slightly.
I'll let everyone just read.
I wouldn't say it was an accusation. I'd say it was more of an observation.
It was just a fact, wasn't it? But these are some of the words that were in his lyrics. Goodness.
I mean, looking at those lyrics.
Yeah.
The first two at least rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
The second two don't really rhyme.
No, that's
licking and die don't rhyme.
So you could do like the first two, replace the naughty word there with chicken, and then
maybe,
and then miss out masturbation. I guess that's what I'd do, but I'm not a poop punk. As
oh wait, no, this is the title. Those aren't lyrics. That's the title.
Ah, so that's the song.
Wait, hang on a minute. Mm-hmm. So hang on. Is it's hard to talk around this. Is that first bit?
What, this bit here?
Ass, but the other thing.
Yeah.
Is that all one? Title?
I believe that's the title, and then "Die When You Die" is another title.
Okay, right. Not really for the easily offended. The article says.
I mean,
but
probably
good
not.
To play if you want to annoy your neighbours.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine.
All right.
So Alan introduced his famed poop punk stage movement in 1985 at a show in Peoria, Illinois, or maybe Peoria.
When it was after he was done.
When he literally and deliberately shat himself on stage, there was a near riot as people tried to get away from the stench. Gee, fucking hell.
Yeah, so...
Literally and deliberately.
A tidbit on this, yeah. So he took like a bunch of laxatives, but he took them too early. So he was intending to like shit himself a bit further into the show.
Yeah.
But he took the laxes too early, so he was like holding it in before the show, and then it's like the first thing he did when he got on stage. He just dropped trout and
went. Goodness me. Well, Alan always claimed he was the last true rock and roller out to reclaim rock music as the real art form of rebelliousness. Well, can't rebel any more than pooing yourself on stage.
No, I mean he did rebel.
That's pretty
I mean, this is the
anti-society, isn't it, really?
yeah.
That's a screw your
Yeah.
norms kind of thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And we'll come back. We'll come back to number 6. I think
Okay.
we'll come back to that one.
Okay. Alan idolised country star Hank Williams and covered Family Tradition by Hank Williams Jr., although he retitled it Scumfuck Tradition without... so maybe this is just SCUMFUC.
Oh, maybe
Maybe it is.
they may be okay.
Huh. In 1989...
Although...
Go on.
Oh, yeah. No, carry on.
Okay, in 1989, year of my birth, Alan said he would commit suicide on stage on Halloween that year, but he was in jail, so unable to carry out his threat. Despite repeating the claims of his impending suicide in front of an audience, Alan never even tried to follow this through, once saying in an interview that he would only do it when his powers were at their peak. What kind of powers?
When his powers were at their peak.
When he was over 9,000. I mean... this was kind of a thing in the 80s, though, wasn't it? Being shocking on stage. You had with Ozzy, Light and the Bats, and Alice Cooper, decapitating himself on stage and things like that.
Yeah, that was like 70s and 80s. Yeah,
right.
Because like the 80s were the year of very, very sanitized pop, and like really. I don't want to say like clean rock, but there were a lot of rock bands out there that had a very there were a lot of sort of suit wearing rock bands and
like
glammed up long hair, multicolored type of folks. And like Nirvana came out of this. Like Nirvana, very stripped back, very sort of
this is where there's
that's
grunge,
noisy and
grunge
came out of that. It's like counterculture, and this guy was counterculture as well, but even more so.
Yeah. One of the most hysterical rumours about GG Allin was that he guested on a debut solo album from Styx guitarist Tommy Shaw titled Girls with Guns. When asked about the validity of the story, Shaw laughed and said, "I wish it were true, but it isn't." Well, that's a lame one. Alan had a daughter, Nico, born in 1986. This was from a relationship with Tracy Donnell. This is called Blood and Guts, 16 facts about Alan that you might not know. It's not gruesome facts. He had a kid. He might have been on an album.
Yeah. He's like, "Oh, I wish it were true." Oh, cheers. Okay.
Oh, God. Okay.
In his last interview.
Yeah. Yeah, you carry on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This one's spicy.
Yeah. I mean, that's a.
I feel like the last two were just like the calm before the rape. In his last interview, given just a few days before his death, Alan admitted to being arrested 52 times and claimed he had raped both women and men on stage. Claimed he had.
Yeah.
Interesting. What claimed he had, but it's not saying that he did.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it could be another shock thing, but I mean, we weren't.
Yeah, being an edgelord, potentially.
Yeah, just being a fucking edgy bastard.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Calling him an edgelord seems a little bit like almost disrespectful, because you call an edgelord someone who was just like saying racial slurs to get a reaction. This is a guy who literally pooed on himself.
Words are dialectic.
Well, this is a guy who actually pooed on himself.
This is like a true.
So I don't think he's an edgelord.
Maybe this is like a true edgelord. This is an 80s edgelord.
Number 12 has a bit more to it as well. So you read number 12 and I'll elaborate.
All right. So Alan died from a heroin overdose on June 28th, 1993. After all his suicide threats, this one was accidental.
Right. So this is after a show. So he had a show. It was after the interview where he said about all the rape. And he had a gig, and it was raucous, and it got shut down. So after it got shut down, he led the band and a bunch of the crowd through the streets, like marching and being naughty.
Yeah.
And then they went back to his place and they had a massive, massive party during which he OD'd on heroin.
Fuck.
And no one noticed.
Jeez.
No one noticed until the morning.
Oh man. That's gnarly.
Yeah. I mean, he died as he lived.
Yeah. When I was reading this earlier, I thought it was going to be part of the 28 Club or the 27 or 20. The famous club where a lot.
Yeah,
of
27.
But he made it to his 30s, I think.
Well, hang on.
When he was born in the 70s, I believe. I'll check it in a sec, but I think he made it to his 30s. So he's buried with a bottle of Jim Beam, apparently, as well.
Yes, full bottle of Jim Beam. And okay, so more things about this. So he was buried with a bottle of Jim Beam. Also by request, his body was not preserved or embalmed at all. So he was like rotting, open casket, bottle of Jim Beam, and they had the people there had a massive piss up around his body,
drinking for their fallen homie.
Well, I mean, yeah. They had basically part 2 of the party where he died around his body.
Damn. Goodness. Okay, number 14. His song "When I Die" was an eerie acoustic blueprint for the way Alan wanted to be remembered after his death.
Okay, I've not heard that song.
Okay, so 15. Clean cut Southern rockers Drive-By Truckers wrote a song called "The Night G.G. Allin Came to Town." This was based on what happened when Alan and his band, the Murder Junkies, played at the Antenna Club in Memphis on November 16th, 1991. Among other things, he shoved a microphone up his bum. Oh, Jesus.
Which end? Which end first?
Oh, come on! If you're going to be doing like a what would you call it? Like a if you're going to be making a statement, if you're going to be making a statement, you put the sound end up there, surely.
Yeah, and then sing into it afterwards. Yeah.
And then apparently there's a G.G. Allin bobblehead. Another gruesome fact about this guy.
See, that's the whole thing. Like, who made a bobblehead of this guy?
Let's have a look.
So this is a thing that, like, I wonder how you would feel about that if he would like turn in his grave. Because there's like Malcolm X has plushies of him. Like there are plushy Malcolm X's on sale in Austin, right? And I look at that and I think he would not be happy about that. He would be really pissed about that. Because who's making those plushies?
Yeah.
Who makes most plushies? Sweatshops, man.
Yeah. So I'm on this site at the moment, and I can get a 21st death-anniversary bust of G.G. Allin.
Okay.
I'll bring it up. So yeah. So not only were there bobbleheads made, I can now buy a bust of him.
Is it brown?
It's
what? Okay. Well, so he's a zombie. Okay.
I mean, again, yeah. I mean, this is a question itself. Should people be allowed to do this?
What, profit off of him?
And where does, I mean, what
well,
how do you,
it depends who's doing it.
How do you go about making a death bust of someone? You know, what's the process?
Well, I think this is an artistic license. I don't think they got him.
Oh,
I'm
sure they haven't
cast of his dead face.
I'm sure they haven't exhumed him. Yeah.
No.
I mean, like, what's the I mean, not only the ethical way to go about this, but what like the legal way to go about it. So I guess you need to go through someone's estate and be like, hey, so I'm an artist and I'd really like to make a bust of your dead family member. Making 5.
Well, what are the moral ethics of making a Malcolm X plushie? Because he wouldn't have wanted a damn plushie.
We can assume, of course.
I'm looking at GG Allin and I'm like, you know what? He would probably be okay with a bust of him looking like a zombie.
Of him being a zombie,
yeah. But there's a bit more to him actually that I forgot to mention that wasn't mentioned in that article. So his grave, they had to remove his headstone.
Okay.
Because his fans would travel to his grave as like a pilgrimage, and wee and poo on it.
Okay.
In his memory, and like vomit on it and stuff.
In his honor.
In his honor, yeah.
Yeah.
And his mum, bless her,
wasn't best pleased.
She was not best pleased.
Yeah.
And she had the headstone. I think the headstone was either removed or moved somewhere. I'm not sure. But yeah, but there's no headstone over his grave now.
Right.
So this, I mean, that's quite a long introduction to the question.
Yeah.
Because there was a question here.
Oh yeah, go on.
Here's my question.
Go on.
Now let's go back to. Do you have the article still?
I can get there.
So, because we said we go back to number 6 about him.
Here you go, man. I'm stuck on Pinterest at the moment.
Oh, okay. Well, looking at. Okay, so the question basically, like, this is a guy who got on stage and he shat and cut himself, and threatened to kill himself and assaulted the audience, potentially raped members of the audience. And if we go down to number 6, Alan always claimed he was the last true rock and roller, out to reclaim rock music as the real art form of rebelliousness.
Okay.
So there's no question in my mind, because all music is art, right? The question that occurred to me when I first heard about GG Allin was, can art go too far?
Okay.
And I thought we could discuss that.
That's a nice question. I like that. Okay. Can art go too far? I guess my first instance, which probably in an hour's time will be the other way around, but my gut reaction to this is it all depends on who you ask.
Okay.
Right. So let's take.
So subjectively.
Yeah. Let's
subjective.
Let's take the death anniversary bust of GG Allin.
Okay.
Right. So let's take that as art. It's an artist has made it. For whatever reason, and we could definitely determine whether or not it's subjectively good or not, because we've done that before.
Yes. Yeah.
But has it
our
gone
logic
too
was
far?
faultless.
Has it gone too far in doing that? Actually, right. Let's. What I'm going to do, I'm going to stop sharing. Give me your initial thoughts on this. I'm going to find some obscene art.
So, I mean, a bit like you, it kind of depends. Like because here's the offense is subjective, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Offense is entirely subjective.
Any kind of emotion is, isn't it?
A fact that a lot of people forget nowadays. Offense is entirely subjective, and art is for who it's for. You know what I mean? Like it's based on, it's made for a specific audience. And when I think about GG Allin, and I think about him doing what he did on stage and all that, and I think, well, is he going too far? I'm like, well, in a way. I mean, you wouldn't take your nan to see Gigi Allen.
Yeah. Unless she was a metalhead,
Unless she was a metalhead, yeah. Unless
Yeah.
she was okay with getting punched
Mhm.
and getting poo on her. But I mean, to if you had I don't know, man. It depends. If you had like a normie nan, then yeah, it would absolutely be too far. It would be too far for her.
Okay,
but
I've got something that we can go through, Matt.
Okay.
I have found the top 10 offensive works of art.
Oh boy.
Let's have a look. I mean, the first one's not that bad.
Can we show them?
The banner isn't good, so I've cropped out the banner. So this is the first one. This is of Myra Hindley. It was made by Marcus Harvey in 1995. For those out-of-towners, probably not being, from the UK, you might not know who she is. But Myra Hindley was part of a duo of serial killers who was a notorious child murderer. Her along with, who was it? Ian Brady?
Can't remember.
I can probably find it here. Right, so the work of Myra is a large painting created by Marcus Harvey in 1995. It became notorious when it was exhibited in the Sensation of Young British Artists. Oh, okay, at the Royal Academy
Sorry,
of Art.
I read on ahead, and I was like, oh, that's why.
Yeah, the painting was created completely out of the handprints of small children. Myra Hindley, along with Ian Brady, was responsible for the vicious murder of 5 children from 1963 to 1965. So when the work was put on display at the Royal Academy, angry members of the public immediately threw eggs at it. Some see this as an overreaction, stating that the painting is merely conveying the enormity of Hindley's crimes. Harvey's agent bought the work and sold it to Charles Saatchi for 11 grand. Later, he sold it for 100 grand. It is now owned by US commodities trader Frank Gallipoli. Right, okay, so this is a good one to start, isn't it?
It is.
This is a fantastic one to start. So, we've got this person who is very famous, but very famous for killing children. The work of art was exhibited at the Young British Artists, at the exhibition of Young British Artists at the Royal Academy of Art in 1997, and made completely of children's handprints.
Yeah, I mean, you got my reaction to that live because I read ahead.
Yeah, so neither
as
of
I
us
want
have seen
to do.
this. Neither of us have seen this piece of art.
Well, I was just like, whatever, and then I read it was done completely out the handprints of small children, and that was when you got my reaction of oh.
So I mean, that's heavy.
It is heavy.
That's got some real, for want of a better word, like energy behind it, hasn't it? That's got a lot of emotional energy behind it. Has this gone too far? Well, I guess it depends on your viewpoint, doesn't it, really? If you think that this is glorifying her, and, well, just straight up, if you think this is glorifying her, or just, even drawing attention to her and what she did, then yes, I would imagine that you think this has definitely gone too far.
They kind of messed her eye up.
Yeah. One of the eyes is a bit lower, isn't it?
Sorry, now I'm just criticizing.
Yeah.
These children should have studied eyes. No. I mean, maybe that's intentional. Maybe it's like a demon eye. But this is the kind of thing like this, I would say. I wouldn't necessarily say this has gone too far, no. Now, if like this artist had gotten those children to recreate a crime scene photo of one of her crimes using child's handprints, that would have gone a bit too far, I think. Well, maybe. I don't know. That would be like, I don't know. It stirs up feelings. But that's what art's supposed to do.
But it's supposed to do that, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah.
Right. So that
it's definitely not objective. It's not objectively bad. Definitely not objectively bad.
No, I don't think it could be, could it?
No.
So he was born in 1963. by that, so 73, 83, 93. So he's 32 at that point.
Yeah.
I was wondering if he was a young British artist at that point, but he's an adult.
Mm.
I mean, it doesn't really make any difference who made it.
It would. I mean, it would a bit.
Mm.
If he was like, if he was like 16, and he did that,
so yeah,
that would be another thing entirely.
Mm.
But what constitutes a young artist exactly?
Yeah, young in their career.
Maybe.
Don't know. So I mean, one thing that struck. So looking through all of this, obviously it's shocking. It's really, really shocking. I wouldn't necessarily.
Oh, that's the point as well.
Yeah, of course it is. It's a shock piece, isn't it?
Mm.
You're not gonna make a picture of a child murderer using child's handprints and not want that out of your art. To evoke emotions such as this, and indeed to evoke emotions that people threw eggs at it. I would be
threw milkshakes at it.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what they do now.
Yeah, I'd be interested as to what Harvey's response was to people throwing eggs at his art. If he got if he got butthurt about it, I'd say chin up, mate.
Yeah,
but I mean, yeah,
I don't think he would have.
I wouldn't imagine so.
He would have taken it on the chin,
like
child handprint. Myra would have taken an egg on the chin, most likely.
Mm-hmm. So this one, we're thinking no.
I mean, I can see why. I can see why people would be offended by it.
I can see it's shocking.
It's definitely shocking.
I can see it's offensive. But
going
too far, I don't think it has.
Definitely not going too far. No.
Because it's very hard to be subjective with this, obviously, because it's such an emotive thing. You know, this was a huge thing. You know, in the 60s.
it's almost impossible to be objective about it. Is what I would say. Yeah. Like, because here's the thing. This is sort of, I don't think we'll come, because this is a question that really doesn't have a definitive answer. I don't think it's just a good discussion thing, and this is sort of like a process, I suppose.
Yeah,
of looking at it and seeing how we feel about it, and then we'll come to something maybe.
Okay.
But I mean, there are people who'd be horrified by that.
I mean, I've got some really negative emotions towards it. It's guttural, that photo. Like, it's quite chilling.
Yeah.
And I think that's an understatement. Now, this one, I haven't read anything, so I'm on number 9 now. I just wanted to check it before I just, show
before you throw it out there.
I show a flayed man on YouTube. So this is Marcus Duchamp, Nude Descending a Staircase, number 2, 1912. So I haven't read it yet. So I wanted to read it with you. So at the moment,
where's the nude?
I don't know. But that's the picture.
I love that. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I'm not offended by this at the moment. This is just an interesting piece of art, isn't it?
It's fascinating.
Okay, so Nude Descending a Staircase, number 2 is a 1912 painted by Marcel Duchamp. The work is widely regarded as a modernist classic, and I would say that's correct, and has become one of the most famous of its time. For its first presentation at the Parisian Salon des Indépendants, it was rejected by the Cubists as too futurist and subsequently caused a huge stir during the exhibition at the 1913 Armory Show in New York. Duchamp's brother, Jacques Villon and Raymond Duchamp Villon, sent by the Salon des Indépendants hanging committee. Oh, right, hanging the picture. Gotcha. Okay.
Jesus. We are going to hang you because your painting is too futurist. I bat my thumb at you.
Okay, so they asked him to voluntarily withdraw the painting, paint over the title, and rename it as something else. According to Duchamp, Cubists such as Albert Glizet found that his nude wasn't quite in line with what they had already investigated. The hanging committee objected to the work. Duchamp stressed on the grounds it had too much of a literary title and one that doesn't paint a nude descending a staircase. That's ridiculous. A nude should be respected. Julian Street, an art critic for the New York Times, wrote that the work resembled an explosion in a shingle factory, and cartoonists jumped on the bandwagon satirizing the piece. It was nevertheless sold to the San Francisco lawyer and art dealer Frederick C. Torrey, who hung it in his home in Berkeley. In 1919, he commissioned a full-size copy of the work, selling the original to Louise and Walter Conrad Arensberg. In 1954, it entered the collection of the Philadelphia Museum of Art as a bequest from the Arensberg. So this is offensive to a certain group of artists.
Is this in descending order?
I believe so.
Or is this just an example of 10? If this is just an example of 10, then that's okay. There is no way that is more offensive than the Myra Hindley one. Yeah. No way. Unless you're like a French pretentious, this is art and that is not the art that you say. It's like, shut up.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's a really good...
I really liked it.
I don't understand at all.
Okay, so 8's pretty tame. I haven't read the thing. 7's title is interesting. Okay. 6 is incredibly offensive.
Is it too offensive to show?
I believe so. 5.
Hang on, I'm gonna grab my iPad so I can have a look at these. So what's the title?
Hang on, I'll ping it over.
What's the title of the article?
So I was on 7. If you open your chat, Matt. So we're just going to pause this here, guys, because I want to show Matt the painting. We'll be back in a second, but for you, it will be no time at all. And we are back, as in no time at all. We've been away for a while, just looking through the top 10 most grotesque photos. There's a couple of them that we can't show.
Good grief.
Yeah.
Good. So what we'll do, it's basically dicks. Lots of dicks.
Quite a few dicks. Yeah. Quite a few dicks. Bit of racism.
Yeah. Which we can't show because of YouTube.
Dicks.
because dicks.
Yeah.
And the nature of the dicks.
Yes.
Where they are.
So what we'll do,
and what we're doing,
we'll pop that up in the description. You are more than welcome to go and have a look and let us know what you think and which ones are have gone too far. Looking through those, Matt, did you think any of those had gone too far?
Oh God.
Personally, was it 6?
Number 6.
If that hasn't gone too far, it is right on the line.
That is about as. It's It's about as vomit-inducing as as these things go.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other ones, one of them was a Picasso. I guess that was going against a certain part of art people. There was the photographs.
I think that was one for the time.
The photographs were interesting. I don't think they would necessarily be going too far. They're both saying things about, one of them was about racism.
Yeah, one of them was a racism one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's skip to number 1.
Okay, are you ready?
Because number 1's interesting.
Okay, and we haven't read it yet, so we'll read it through with you guys. This is it. Maurizio Cattelan, the 9th Hour, 1999. So this is a picture of the Pope with a meteorite on him. So,
yes.
How do you offend 1.2 billion Roman Catholics worldwide? By dropping a meteorite on the Pope, of course. Maurizio Cattelan created a life-size... it's a sculpture that features Pope John Paul II splayed out after a meteorite has just fallen from the sky and pinned him quite unceremoniously to the ground. The work subsequently drew the ire of church officials when it went on display at the Venice Biennale in 2001. It is understandably one of the artist's most famous artworks, titled La Nona Ora, the 9th Hour, and was created in 1999. The installation offended many, seeming to suggest that an act of God could befall anyone, even the Bishop of Rome and the leader of the worldwide Catholic Church, or perhaps that God was not behind such events at all and didn't exist. The piece was exhibited at the Royal Academy in London as part of a prestigious apocalypse show and was later sold at Christie's for $886,000. Goodness me.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. This is a good
interesting.
case study. This is a good case study.
It is.
Okay. So for one, don't think it's gone too far.
No.
Regardless of if I was a religious
was,
person or not, I don't think this has gone too far. And I'll tell you why, mate.
It's almost comical.
Yeah. Because I mean, even if I'm a religious person, I understand that this person here is, you know, he's my leader. He's my top dog in the church on earth. You know, he's the top dog on earth.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's not actually him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I say if I was religious, I can't really comment like that.
It's incongruous. Like I can't be offended by that because it's just so absurd.
It's
like
bonkers,
it's cartoonish, basically.
Yeah.
Like if like the meteorite had bisected the Pope, like that might be another story entirely.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like a meteorite landed on his junk. And I guess it's not exactly the most respectful way to depict the Pope. Killed by a meteorite to the testicles.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't... I mean, maybe it's disrespectful, I guess.
Yeah.
Being as fair as I can be.
Yeah.
To folks.
I'd agree with you. I'd say it was disrespectful. But
yeah, that's me being as fair as I can be. I don't actually care.
Art can't be, you know, clinically, you know, just clinically bland, can it? How?
No, well, it can't be governed by, I don't think it should be governed by respect.
No. I mean, should art be governed, really? I mean, bar the laws of the land.
Yeah, bar the laws of the land.
Yeah, I think you're good to go. I think it's got a good thought experiment behind it. Seeming to suggest that an act of God could befall anyone, even the Bishop of Rome, or that perhaps God was not behind such events at all and didn't exist. Well, I mean, religious or not, taking those two questions and thinking about them, you don't, whatever your answer and whatever anyone else's answer, that should have, unless someone's not trying to force it on you. Right, so the second question, let's look at the second question. Perhaps that God was not behind this event at all and didn't exist. So we say this happens and it's called God. And someone suggests to you, so you're religious, Matt, and I'm not, okay, in this thought experiment.
Okay.
I say, that's not an act of God. God doesn't exist.
Okay.
Now, I'm being a dick to start with, okay? You know, I'm being an arsehole, basically. You know, God doesn't exist. No, your views are rubbish. As long though as I'm not trying to force that belief on you, if I then don't go on to, you know, like an hour tirade on why your God does not exist and no God exists, blah blah blah. You know, certain sects of atheism where they just flying man in the sky, blah 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 blah. Believe me, resist or die, sort of thing. I don't really. It's a question, and you as a religious person, you can ask that as you wish, and you can answer as you wish. As long as I'm not forcing an answer on you, I think that's okay. What do you? Okay. What do you think?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, like you have a right to express a view.
Everyone has a right to an opinion.
That's totally fine.
Don't they? Everyone has a right to an opinion, and everyone has a right to not care about that opinion. I think we've said that before.
Yes. This is free expression, isn't it? Like art is free expression. So you mentioned laws of the land, okay? You mentioned laws of the land.
Yeah.
So would you say jokes are art?
Well, I reckon, right, I'm going to define art as my personal definition as creation,
Okay.
as creative creation.
Okay.
So my creative bent behind something, and I want to make something, that is art. So not necessarily making my bed is art, unless I'm Tracy Emin and I want to make a message about it. If I'm, if I'm making something, if I'm creating something, be it a story, be it a, even like a toast at like a function or something like that. If I've put some creative energy behind it to convey a message, or I mean, if we go back to our 4 things that we spoke about, if I'm doing something to convey an emotion, I'm making something to convey an emotion, to look pretty, and the other, give you a new perception on something, or say something about politics. You'd have to go back to number 1 for that, guys. But there was 4 things. If I'm doing something solely for one of those purposes, I'm going to say that's art, that I've created something for that. So yes, I would say a joke is an art form.
Yeah.
You're doing that to elicit an emotion.
So here's the thing about that then.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, we've had jokes being cause for people to be fined by the law and potentially put in jail, given sentences by the law.
Mm-hmm.
The Nazi pug thing is the prime example of that.
Okay.
I mean, what is that? I mean, it's a joke, obviously. Jokes are art. It's creation.
Mm-hmm.
There's a set context.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, if art can't go too far, I don't know. If art, you see, like, if it's difficult for art to go too far, because it's going to depend on the audience, a joke surely can't go too far either, depending on the audience.
I'm having a look at this. So he was, this who we're talking about? We're talking about Mark Meechan,
Mark Meechan / Count Dankula.
Yeah, aka Count Dankula. An edgy guy. I would say this guy is an edgelord, isn't he?
A little bit.
He's a bit of an edgelord. He's a bit of a, what we would deem as an edgelord now. Not quite GG
I would say so.
edgelord-esque, but an edgelord in the 21st century. So he was fined $800.
He's a comedian.
Yeah. He was fined $800 at the Airdrie Sheriff Court, and he was
£800, man. We're not on the dollar yet. Wait until after Brexit.
Christ, no, it's because I'm in New Zealand. We've got dollars over here as well. So he's fined £800 under the Communications Act.
Yes.
So there is a law there that says we can't do something within the Communications Act. Now, I'm not going to spend the next half hour going through what the Communications Act is. I'm not saying that I know it. I'd have to go through and see what he's been taken under.
Well, it was anti-Semitism. That was the thing.
Okay, so under the Communications Act, we're looking at hate speech then.
Basically, yes.
Right. Okay. So this guy has been taken to court and fined £800 for hate speech. Okay. Then. Right.
For a joke that was mocking the Nazis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Okay. So I mean, this was a real hot button, wasn't it, when it came out?
It was, rather.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this was at the start of the year. Apparently, the Supreme Court appeal has been blocked for him. So this was in January.
Yeah.
It was now blocked by Scotland's most senior judges. And why was this? They had no powers to allow any further appeals in the circumstances of the case. Meechan had sought to pursue the human rights appeal, including claim under Article 10, which covers freedom of expression. His senior counsel, Dorothy Bain QC, argued that the petition was competent and necessary to advance the challenge brought by Meechan. She said the consequences of his conviction for this breach of the Communications Act have been immense for him, both professionally and personally. Advocate Depute Alex Prentice QC for the Crown counter-argued that the Sheriff Appeal Court had exercised its powers in accordance with the statute and called on the judges to refuse Meacham's permission to appeal. Meacham, who posts videos under the name Count Dankula, has a target of raising $100,000 to cover the cost of his appeal. So, I mean, I don't see the response from the court.
Well, the
What's the
TLDR
why?
is
Yeah.
TLDR is it was considered grossly offensive and anti-Semitic. So the joke itself, he's taking a pug, which is which is a breed of dog that's sort of comical in a way. It's very, very cute, very, very cute animal, and he wanted to annoy his girlfriend, who thought this pug was really, really cute.
Here we are.
He
Here's
wanted
pugs.
to annoy his girlfriend, who loved this dog and thought it was super cute. He wanted to turn it into the least cute thing possible.
That being
which
a
is
Nazi.
obviously a Nazi.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, so he was saying, there were certain trigger words, right? So you know when you say like walkies to a dog, the dog sort of ears prick up and it gets really excited. His trigger wasn't walkies to get the dog excited.
It was the classic thing that Hitler used to say, I would imagine.
Well, it was what he used to do.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah. And there was another thing he did. I don't know if it was Sieg Heil, but he would like say something to the dog, maybe Sieg Heil, and the dog would like raise its paw.
Right. Okay. So he's trained a dog to do a Nazi salute. Okay.
Yeah. To mock the Nazis. Now he gets done for anti-Semitism because of the trigger words that he used to get the dog excited, which I'm not saying. Not because I don't know why I'm not saying it. This is one of those things where you're self-censoring. I don't think it was particularly offensive, but I'm not saying it, which is interesting.
Well, I mean, there's a precedent behind it now. If this guy said it, and I mean, obviously he's dressed up a dog as well, but
yeah, and we are on a very censorious platform.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, right. So going back to the quiz. So can art go too far? Is jokes art? Are jokes art? Is this going too far? Right. Okay. Lot to break down here. So the dog has done a Nazi salute.
Yeah.
Has been trained to do one. He hasn't done one because he's a dog.
Right.
Dogs, as far as we know, aren't cognizant enough to have political leanings.
Right.
Nor and the only person who's sentient enough is Count Dankula, is to have a political leaning. Now, as far as I'm aware, I wouldn't imagine he's a Nazi.
No.
Right. Okay.
He has a communist flag tattooed on him.
He has a communist, so he's quite the opposite then.
Well, I think his views have changed since then, after being run through the ringer. But he's just sort of he's a free speech guy, basically.
Right. So
I think he was one of the, the UKIP takeover where Sargon of Akkad was involved in that. He was also involved in that. I think he ran with UKIP.
Okay.
But he did it because he wanted a codified British constitution.
Okay. Yeah.
Which
that sounds
to
right.
enshrine things like free speech.
That sounds quite good. I'd like that. Constitution sounds good. Okay.
Right.
So
just to just ensure people's rights.
Yeah.
And ensure rights for everybody, basically.
Because this was what I was going to come to. Because this was exactly what I was going to come to. Actually, I didn't realise it was on that. But so the US has a constitution. Within that constitution, it enshrines that right of freedom of speech.
Yes.
We don't have something that says that, do we?
No.
I mean, even looking at the article that we looked at, he had to go through the Human Rights Act, and that was the United Nations one. It wasn't something under ours. It was just under the Human Rights something or other. I'm going to find it. Right. So he was challenging it under.
Well, the thing about his joke that we haven't sort of touched on is that the context of the joke is that he's. I mean, there's a double context here. One is mocking the Nazis, and the other is
an
annoying
adorable
his girlfriend.
thing. Yeah, an adorable thing being a Nazi, in turn annoying his girlfriend. The incongruity of a pug being a Nazi.
Mocking the Nazis.
By the incongruity of a pug being a Nazi. That Nazis aren't adorable, pugs are adorable. This is silly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And in order to charge him in this way, you've kind of got to recontextualize the joke and say that you're not mocking the Nazi, because Nazis, they're not a protected class.
No.
As far as I'm aware.
No.
Unless the UK is really going downhill. But yeah, it's you have to sort of recontextualize the joke to make it offensive, or make it more offensive. I think it's baseline. It's probably, I mean, it's ultimately it's offensive to Nazis.
Yeah,
definitely offensive to Nazis.
Yeah. Right.
Because he did another one recently. Okay. Carry on.
No, right. I'm on the Communications Act at the moment. So the Communications Act of 2003 is an act to confer functions of the Office of Communications, Ofcom.
Yeah.
So that's Ofcom, and they're not a government branch, I don't think. But anyway, to make provision about the regulation of the provision of electronic communication networks and net services and the use of the electromagnetic spectrum, to make provision about the regulation of broadcasting and of the provision of television and radio services, to make provision about mergers involving newspaper and other media enterprises, and in that connection, to amend the Enterprise Act of 2002 for connected.
Was that all? Is this all one sentence?
That's all one sentence with semicolons in there.
So what this sentence is, basically, is a bunch of political doublespeak with words jumbled together into a mess, into a sentence that's too long for anyone to pay attention to.
I mean, it's an act, so it's going to have a ton of that.
And it's what it basically is it from what it sounds like, it's covering every medium that it can possibly cover communication wise. It's covered radio, I think, if that's the electromagnetic shit.
Yeah.
Covers TV, covers the internet. Basically, if you communicate something that we deem offensive, we can charge you. TLDR, with no doublespeak.
I mean, this is a huge act.
Yeah.
Like I'm on
huge act with lots of sentences like the one that I had to cut off.
Yeah.
Because I would have started banging my head against the wall. And the neighbours wouldn't have liked that. Got to think about your neighbours.
Yeah, it's huge. It's a huge act.
This is, yeah.
So I couldn't even tell you what he got banged on.
Right. Well, I mean, what he got, it was offence. It was gross offence, what he got charged with, basically. I think, gross offence through anti-Semitism.
Right.
Because of the trigger word he used.
Yeah.
To get the dog excited.
Right. Okay.
trigger words he used,
Okay.
which journalists used and quoted back at him. So, you know.
So then you come to a point of context, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. And you have to eliminate the context in order to. Yeah. You basically have to decide. You basically have to remove the context and decide on your own. You decide on the context that you're going to charge him on.
Because while you have to remove the context, you have to put another context in place. Because if you can't do that, then everyone who said that should be liable for it as well, surely.
Yes.
Because if you remove the context of the joke, whatever that joke may be, and then people report on that, now they're liable under the Communications Act as well, as we've seen, because they'll be on the electromagnetic spectrum somewhere.
Yes.
And they're going to have a context behind that. Their context is reporting what this person has done to be in in a spot of bother.
Yeah.
So there must be a context behind it, like either way. So what's happened? Yeah. So
Well, then we come to one rule for thee, but not for me.
Exactly. Yeah. This is what I'm saying.
So if you look at, this is a guy who trained a dog to do something absurd.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, you've got Jimmy Carr telling jokes about AIDS. You've got Frankie Boyle telling jokes about
all sorts.
Jordan's child with special needs sexually assaulting her. I'm not saying that like they shouldn't joke about these things. I'm saying like if you're going to be mad about one thing,
where are the boundaries? Yeah.
Where are the boundaries?
Yeah.
Or are the boundaries set for you but not for me? Like what's the line here? And here's the thing: the line will never be clearly defined, because the line not being defined allows you to control and censor whoever you want. And that I know that sounds a little bit conspiratorial, sounds a little bit they're turning the frogs gay. but you have to look at it like I put myself in these positions. And I'm a bit of a psycho. And I go like, well, I mean, if I wanted to be an authoritarian dictator, I would enforce certain rules for certain people, but not for my supporters.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So,
yeah,
and that's what's happening. And Lee, I don't know if you've heard this, but they're turning the frogs gay.
Are they?
They are, and in the when planes fly over you, and they have like the trails coming out the back. That's chemicals, man. Chemtrails is what they're called.
I had a lovely conversation with a gentleman in Camden about chemtrails years ago, and he was telling me all about it. And he's like, "You've got to watch out, man." And I'm like, "Well, so if this happens, what's the end game? What's going to happen? Well, it's going to dramatically lower the population. When? Well, once the grand plans come to fruition. But I mean, how long have they been doing this then, buddy? Ages. Well, come on, man. You got to give me something to believe in, or I'm going to have to walk away in a sec. Bit of a side amble there. He was really into it though. He was protesting about the chemtrails, and everyone was walking past him, and I was chatting to him.
And you were like, "That's interesting. What do you think?"
Yeah. So yeah,
this is if I saw someone who was like not like a proper nutcase. I mean, like, well, I mean that's a proper nutcase is relative. But if I saw someone protesting something like that, I could not resist going up and having a chat.
Oh, you've got to.
Couldn't resist, man.
Yeah.
If I saw like I did this in Austin. with pro-life people.
Hmm.
Like I went up and chatted to them. I'm like, what you on about, guys? Just listening to them say their thing and going, okay, that's interesting. And doing the same with pro-choice people who were protesting, although they weren't protesting at that point. But if there were pro-choice folks around, I absolutely would go like, okay, cool. What you protesting? What's going on?
Yeah. What do you
like? I just want to know.
I think the core question behind it is, what do you mean?
Yes, exactly.
when you hear them protesting, what do you mean when you say that?
Yeah.
Enlighten me. Educate me on what you mean.
Yeah. Assume I'm an idiot and that I want to learn more. What is your point? What are you talking about? What's going on?
So I'm still thinking about the pug, Matt. One, because they're adorable, and one because
how can you not?
And one is because the story is nonsense. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we spoke about that idiot footballer who apparently doesn't know about the Nazis.
Yeah.
So he did the sign. He did the naughty sign, didn't he?
Yes.
Now, why has he not been fined under the Communications Act?
Because he is, well, that's an interesting question, isn't it? Because there's in a lot of ways there's no reason why he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I guess because he's been sort of contrite, and he's got teams of lawyers behind him, and he's got an institution behind him.
So money is why he hasn't.
I would say like money and fame and power and access to more power.
Right. Okay.
Is the reason why he hasn't been.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it was kind of a thingy question, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Rhetorical. There we are.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, in his case as well. In his case, it's not. I mean, in the case of the footballer, it's sort of the same thing. Like, it's directed at his friend, his teammate, and he sort of pled ignorance and sort of was contrite. I think the apology is probably what did it. Because there was another footballer who I was reminded about the other day.
Right.
A very, very, very famous footballer from Italy. Bonucci, I think his name is.
Oh yeah.
Who plays for Juventus, who are like the big dogs in Italy.
Juve.
Exactly. Juve. Yeah, and they've got a player like Italy's a bit of a hotbed at the moment.
Yeah.
Of race issues and potential fascism.
Well,
and
I mean,
potential.
I mean, when you were in Italy, we saw a bit of it firsthand, didn't we?
We had a bit of it. There was a thing. Yes,
there was a thing that happened that we won't go into, but there was a thing. Now, that's not to say that everyone in Italy is racist. That's lazy thinking, and that's lazy.
Oh, absolutely not.
But
dude, I've got to. Oh man, did I tell you the story of the classroom?
Yeah.
Classroom racism.
Like straight up, wasn't even low key.
No, yeah.
Was it? Well, we're talking
absolutely
straight
not.
Up.
Absolutely
racism.
not.
Yeah.
I think they were They were trying to be edgy. Well, no. At first, I thought they were trying to be edgy, and then I was like, "Oh no, you're actually being serious." But recently in Italy, there's a guy. I always pronounce his name wrong, but he's a young footballer. I think he's from the Ivory Coast. It's Keane. I think his last name is Keane.
Okay.
Keane or Ken or something like that.
Okay.
And he's like a young up and coming footballer, and he was racially abused during a match.
Okay.
By fans of the other team. And Bonucci kind of came out and went, well, it was kind of this kid's fault.
The kid from the Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
For stoking it or something like that, and it's like, well,
yeah. That was both of our sound. The universal sound for. Are you actually? Is that real?
Can you elaborate, Mr. Benucci?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The awkward disagreement.
He's like, well, he is black and he is on a pitch, so obviously, like, Benucci,
yeah. It's like you're trying to stop
more.
It's like you're trying to stop a car crash. Yeah.
Elaborate more and also less at the same time. I don't really know.
Shut up or have a very good reason for saying that.
Yeah. It's like it's like the cringe. The cringe of when someone says something ridiculous. And actually, when it happens in person, there was an incident recently where, and it was like it wasn't meant to be bad. I know it wasn't meant to be bad, but it just made me laugh because it was just so foot in mouth.
Right.
It was at a training, and there was a girl from who trained with me, a girl from Nigeria.
Okay.
And I was chatting to her, and she was like, I don't know what we were talking. I think we got onto the topic of like Asian guys somehow. And she was like, I love Asian guys. I'm like, oh, we're okay. What do you love about it? And there's an Asian guy in the room, Japanese. Right. I think he was Japanese.
Yeah.
It's half Japanese, half English, or Japanese and grew up in England.
Yeah.
So he knows what's going on. And he's like, she's just like, I just love Asian guys. They're just so, they're so cute, and they just like, and I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Completely unaware, and knowing that this pig was here.
Yeah.
But just like unaware that what she was saying was like, I wonder how he's going to take this. I'm just going to let you keep talking. Because I was like, I know you don't mean it in a bad way. It's complimentary in a way. But it's just like, you could be putting this so much better. And so not as, I don't know. You could be putting this with so much more tact.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, you could be more eloquent with what you're trying to say.
Yeah. Because it was like, the thing is, she was like saying that they were like submissive and things like that. And I'm like, okay. It's like she was like, white guys and black guys are so opinionated and so loud, and Japanese men are so quiet and they're so cute. And I'm just like,
yeah.
Because it was almost double. It was like for. Well, it was a triple threat. It was
just everyone, just going everywhere.
White guys, black guys, and Asian guys.
I'm going to talk about 3.5 billion people at once and make some sweeping statements about them for brevity, about my sexual preference.
And I'm like, and I'm going to let you, because it's funny.
and because really, what can you do? Go, well, actually, that is 3.5 billion people. And when you're saying Asian, what part of Asia do you mean? Because that's about 2.5 billion people. And what about this? And what about that? Who has time for that conversation?
Yeah. Well, it's like, and it's not as if I was like offended on this guy's behalf. I was just like, I'm laughing because it's awkward. And I'm just going to let you keep talking. I'm going to let you get into this hole you've dug, and I'm going to let you haul yourself out of it. Yeah. And I'm not going to interfere at all. And he wasn't offended either, this guy, because he kind of was just like, whatever.
Well, actually, you bring up a good point there, man. So you said you weren't going to be offended for him. I think you said that. That was how you said it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or you weren't going to, make the decision.
I'm not going to be
on whether or not he's offended.
No, No,
Yeah?
because I'm not. Because he can speak for himself.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So I guess. So we're pulling away from the pug at the moment. We'll come back to that in a sec. Right. So
Okay.
Offence is subjective,
Yes.
and without asking someone, well, for the most part, if you can't see their, because I mean, you can get it off their body language. You can know pretty damn quick if someone's offended. I'm not going to know for absolute certainty if you're offended, Matt.
Okay.
So I shouldn't really be being your knight in shining armor and going, you shouldn't do that because that might offend Matt.
Yeah.
You're a big boy.
Yeah.
You can.
Which is, I mean, and like, I mean, I'm saying that, but it's what I've kind of done during this show when talking about the pug,
Mm-hmm.
and not saying what Dankula said to get the dog excited.
Mm-hmm.
It's like self-censorship, and I don't think that's healthy.
Well, yeah, I think.
But at the same time,
I think self-censorship and sort of gatekeeping on someone's offence are two different things. But I get where you're coming from. Like,
yeah,
self-censorship is definitely bad. Well, right, okay, definitely bad. Sweeping statement. Let's just come back, Lee. Come, bring it back. Right. Self-censorship.
I mean, it's bad to a degree.
Can be a bad thing.
It can be bad
if you're, if you're a nasty person who's got some nasty views.
Yeah.
Self-censorship.
Well, I'm just sort of trying to talk about it sort of tactfully, I guess. And there's not very many tactful ways to say that.
Yeah.
And I'm still doing it. I'm still avoiding it.
Yeah.
Which is making what I'm saying incredibly awkward.
Mm-hmm. So self-censorship can be a good thing, I think. Can be. Because if we don't look at it as self-censorship and look at it as more being polite and being kind and, consciously thinking about what we're going to say.
Well, that's talking to someone one-to-one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like if you're in a one-on-one conversation with somebody, you're not going to address, you're not going to you're not going to go out to challenge them on offensive stuff. If the conversation doesn't warrant it.
I know what I'm trying to say succinctly. Self-censorship and empathy are slightly different things.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say. Empathy is different from self-censorship. It's great to be empathetic. We should be empathetic. Yeah. We're all on this mad journey called being a human, and being a human is hard. So if we can take any little bit of pain away from another person and not inflict it on them, that's probably a good thing.
Right.
Self-censorship, however,
too much empathy can drive you mad.
How so? Let's unpack that.
Well, so because if you're trying to be, so I mean, too much empathy. If you're really really worried about everything you're saying because you think it's going to offend someone at some point somewhere, you're going to drive yourself mad, and you're going to police other people into changing, because not everyone feels the way you do, and you're going to end up offended on other people's behalf instead of, and you're going to end up like nannying people almost. You're not going to see. So here's the thing: if you're overly empathetic, you can become like a racist in a way, because you see, if you're too empathetic, you're going to see yourself as like a protector of other people who maybe are in a different group to you.
Okay, I think we're saying empathy in two different ways, because I disagree with everything that you just said.
How so?
Right. So, empathy. I'm saying empathy in like that I don't. If I can do my best to not hurt anyone with what I say or what I do, that's probably a good thing. Now, there is nothing in empathy that says that I have to police anyone. That's not empathy. That's probably some weird personality trait.
That's empathy plus something else.
Yeah. So
because
empathy on its own,
it's still governed by the idea of you must be kind to people. You must be. But it's like narcissism. It's like adding narcissism to your empathy.
Then that's their problem. Them being narcissists is their problem. They can do whatever the fuck they want. They're not being empathetic. They're probably being more narcissistic than empathetic. I think empathy
maybe
as like as an altruistic thing, I think that's great. And I think people, you know, generally, or I would like to think, because I don't know 7 billion people, but I would like to think that on the most part, if we put people on an empathy bell curve, there'd be quite a big bell, you know, a quite big, tall
Probably.
bell. You know, that would be nice. Empathy on its own is great. And I agree with you there that if you put other things with it, then you can start getting into all kinds of weird avenues where you start gatekeeping, you can't start protecting people. In and of itself,
I think that's what I meant.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what I meant.
Yeah, and I think you're definitely right on there. And you know, each to their own. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but have a think and see if that's a good thing to do. If that's what you do, you're a very empathetic person, which is a great thing to be. We don't want to. There's no real need in life to hurt other people. There's very few situations where I would imagine that would be what you have to do. Probably none, unless you're trying to, you know, a life or death situation and trying to get out of the pain. I don't know. Largely,
now offence can be broadcast worldwide, and a little bit of offence said loud enough can really affect stuff, and censor and lead to censorship and lead to. Like, so if we take the pug again, and then there's sort of the one rule for thee and not for me stuff that, like, take the pug and then take the recent thing that then take the joke by Jo Brand. I don't know if you've heard this joke.
Haven't seen it. Can have a look.
So she talked about it was about milkshaking.
Okay,
she was like,
"It's a bloody verb."
Like, yeah. It'll be word of the year. Guarantee you, it will be word of the year.
Really? So
probably,
this is an acid joke.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, she was like, milkshakes per. I would throw battery acid or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but I think it was something like that.
Right, and then someone's suggested that it might be incitement of violence, and then it's all gone a bit wrong.
Yeah. It's sort of considering acid attacks.
Yeah.
And considering, like, you know, calls to action are not good, particularly calls for that kind of thing. And it is. Look, you can argue milkshaking on its base is violent
and fucking
it's
dumb
soft
as well.
It's soft, chilly, dairy violence, and it's not particularly, like, you'd say it's not offensive, but it is violence at the end of the day, and you just escalated that to an acid attack. So under the Communications Act, if you're you know, so inclined, if this guy who's talking about who's getting his pug to do Nazi salutes is breaching the Communications Act with no call to violence, although you could argue that the trigger words were a call to violence. This joke by Jo Brand talking about throwing acid at people is a breach of the Communications Act as well. And what's the response been? It's a joke. Come on, guys, it's a joke. Stop being so sensitive. It's a joke.
Right.
One rule for thee, but not for me. And it is a joke. And I'm not saying I'm offended by it. I'm not saying that it's not that she shouldn't joke about it. I'm not saying that you know, that you can't joke about these things. But I am saying that there is no consistency there between what she said and what Mark Meechan said. There's no consistency in response, I think is what I mean.
It's not even really like that of an original joke. I've seen loads of people that were like fans of whoever got the milkshake thrown over them going, that could have been acid and things like that. It's not even original material. She just lifted that from a Facebook comment.
Well, that's true. Like it could have been acid. It's a matter of time.
But
it's literally, I guarantee you, before the year is out, someone will have thrown a milkshake with acid in it and it will have gone over someone.
But then we're getting into we're getting into very broad territory, aren't we? We're saying it could be acid. Well, then anything could be anything.
I'm not saying it could be. I'm saying it will be. Like, there's no way that's not going to happen. There's no way. It's too convenient. You've got an enclosed thing. There's a precedent set for throwing things at people. There's already a bunch of acid attacks. At some point, someone is going to get acid shaped.
I mean, isn't acid going to burn through a McDonald's cup, though?
Probably.
You know?
I mean, well, the McDonald's cup would be the perfect cover. I mean, you could have something inside it to contain the acid.
I don't know, man.
It's just devolution. It's just devolution of everything. But did that joke go too far? What is going too? I mean, the thing is, if you're in America and you're looking at speech, there is a line there in the U.S. Constitution for what is unacceptable, and that's a call to violence, a call to action.
Yeah.
You can't call fire you can't shout fire in a crowded theatre, but you can't, because that's a call to action, right? You're saying fire, we should all leave.
Okay.
But if there's a fire, you're fine. So
right. Okay. Yeah.
So there's a clear line there, which is sort of breached consistently, but that's neither here nor there. We don't have that line because we don't have.
Yeah.
We don't have that clear definition.
We don't have you're allowed to say this and not this, or you're
right,
allowed
exactly.
to say everything, or you're allowed to say nothing. Yeah.
And we need it. We kind of need it. We need it to be clear.
I think that's yeah, that makes sense. Completely.
Because I'm also not saying that there's no such thing as hateful speech.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as speech that is inoffensive.
Yeah.
Right? You can offend people by saying things.
Yeah, but offensive and hate is two different things. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Totally.
Right. And we need to know what that line is.
Yeah.
Before we start putting people in jail.
Before we start putting, any kind of reprimand behind it, any kind of judicial reprimand, there should be laws, shouldn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you have other laws, and I mean, then you get into a whole area of money and people being very good at being defense lawyers and whatnot, and depending on how much money you got, you can get around those laws and things like that. But laws generally, by and large, they're pretty cut and dry what you can do or not do. The definition of what you're breaking is pretty clear cut, isn't it? Murder is taking away someone's life. Arson is burning property. Theft is taking property. Yeah.
So it's not ultimately, it's not super clear then, really.
No.
Whether something can go too far, art-wise. But then when you see, just coming back to art, because I feel like social media is about to jump on us and ambush us and beat us to the ground.
I could feel it. I could feel it there.
It was coming. It was sneaking up on us.
Thank you.
I'm going to divert. I'm going to divert harshly away from it. there have been films
Mhm.
that have been like Human Centipede
Oh yeah, Christ.
and Human Centipede. Well, I mean that one, Human Centipede gets like it seems to be getting a pass.
Mm.
Human Centipede 2 doesn't really get a pass. It doesn't get a pass from anybody,
Okay.
or rarely gets a pass.
Right.
And there's things like a Serbian film. I don't know if you know a Serbian
Oh yeah,
film.
I'm aware of that. Yeah.
Right. So are they going too far?
Mm.
Well, it depends on your sensibilities.
Mm. I guess right.
But
Okay. So coming back to that question, can art go too far?
Mm.
We said it depends on the person, but I think we missed.
Yeah.
I think we missed a big old chunk of that question.
Okay.
Can art go too far? Well, the first response should probably be in what sense?
Okay.
Because we've talked about sort of a few different things here. We've talked about in when we were looking at the Maura Hindley photo, we were talking
Yep.
about it, whether or not it's gone too far in a moral sense, in an ethical sense.
Mm-hmm. And contextually.
Yeah, we've looked at the Nazi pug. Now, has this gone too far in a judicial sense?
Mm.
So there's different avenues, and can it go too far in a in an emotional sense when we're talking about people's sensibilities and having empathy for people and gatekeeping and all of that kind of stuff. So can art go too far? So we've got quite a few different avenues here, because nothing in life is simple, because it never bloody is, because that's life.
No.
That is the
right.
game of life. Everything is messy and everything is complicated. So let's
Yeah,
try and
yeah,
make this question as simple as we can. Can art go too far in a what way? In an X way? Or we can
there's so many ways.
Or we can answer for all three. So, can it go too far in an ethical sense? Well, we said probably. If we looked at the Maura Hindley one, and while shocking and guttural and visceral, and it's hard, it's a tough thing to look at, and sort of how it's been expertly crafted to give you that visceral emotion, hasn't it? But we didn't think that would go too far. We thought that it may go too far.
Whereas number 6
did.
We didn't show because
this channel would have got shut down, I reckon, 100%.
Probably.
We would have got reported. Yeah.
It was a little too much for me, that one. For number 6.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
My sensibilities.
Yeah. And I think, I think also we're kind of erring. You're sort of getting a bit near. Does it go too far in a judicial sense? We're getting on to the next question with that one, I think.
Okay.
That's what I felt from it anyway. But can it go too far in an ethical sense? Sometimes. If we look back to the Maura Hindley photo, if it was a young child's hands of like a crime scene that her and her murder partner did, then you're probably going too far, because this is graphic, this is a real thing, this is gonna really hurt people. And it's not necessarily necessary. So yes, probably can go too far in an ethical sense.
Probably.
Not an awful lot, though. I think you'd have to try really, really, really hard to make it go too far in an ethical sense. You've got to be a real nasty bastard to make it go too far in an ethical sense.
Yeah, and absolutely.
Can it go too far in a judicial sense? Well, apparently it can. But
apparently it can, but we don't know how and when or how. We don't know the line.
But there are no proper laws. Well, there's no proper rules around what that line is. So apparently it can, but we don't know why.
Yeah. Basically,
Can it go too far in an emotional sense? Probably, but you have a right to have that emotion, and the other person equally has a right to, do their thing, as long as they're not, actively singling you out. Really, there's
an important thing here as well with with engaging with it, right?
Mhm.
So
Uh-huh.
I mentioned then I probably should have gone onto it sooner,
Mm.
but because we went off on a tangent. But I mentioned like a Serbian film
Uh-huh.
and Human Centipede and Human Centipede 2.
Mm.
Have you seen any of those films?
I saw a Human Centipede. I might have seen a Serbian film. At the
See,
very least, all about it.
I haven't seen all three. I haven't seen like the only one that I might ever watch is the first Human Centipede,
Mm-hmm.
just out of sort of curiosity,
Mm.
because I've heard it's not a bad movie.
Mm.
But things like I've heard about things that happen in the other two
Mm-hmm.
that make me go like, okay, I don't want to watch it.
Mm.
So I wouldn't say I'm offended by those two films,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't seen them, so
Mhm.
I don't know.
Mhm.
And it's down to my choice to engage with that art or not. And I'm choosing not to.
This is what I was thinking. This is what I was formulating when you were just sort of saying about that sort of, can it go too far? Can things
Yeah.
go too far? Well, what we're looking at is rules, isn't it? Rules in a community about what is
I
acceptable
suppose.
and what isn't. You're going to have ethical rules in a
And
certain
you're going to have
community.
value-based rules.
Exactly. The judicial system is just a big community's set of rules, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a nation's rules. So on the
Well,
grand
yeah.
scale, that community, England, has rules such as the Communications Act, such as murder is illegal, such as this, such as that. But then we take these communities down,
Yeah.
like lower.
Well, you can argue that rule is trying to govern too many people with too many different belief systems and values and ideologies.
Yeah, definitely.
Because this is the thing, like G.G. Allen, if we return to him, what he was doing was not offensive to the people who watched his shows.
This is exactly what I'm saying, yeah. So that's a different...
Who engaged with his art.
If we go lower and lower down, we have different communities, and then we're almost getting down to cliques, but clique, still a community. So if you're, a poop punk fan,
yeah,
you have a certain set of guidelines around what is acceptable in that community. Pooing on yourself and eating it is apparently okay in that. But, I mean, unless you've been pranked by Sal to go to one of these gigs, you should be aware of the rules.
Well, I don't think... Here's the thing, though. I don't think any of his gigs were ever, televised. So it wasn't brought... He was never brought to the masses. So it never... I don't think he ever got to the point where his stuff was going to offend enough. Because the interview where he talked about... The interview shortly before his death was televised, and he was on Springer.
Yeah.
Before that. And he was offending people there. But, they're... I said normies before.
Yeah.
But to him, they were just they were muggles.
Yeah.
to his pooey Hogwarts.
Yeah. So right, okay, I'm getting a bigger picture of my answer, Matt. I'm getting a bigger picture now. So we're part of all these communities, aren't we? We're part of a community of friends when we're at home. When we used to go to yours on a Wednesday, we're a community at that point. There's a community of men there. We have a certain set of rules or guidelines that we abide by when we're in that social situation. Just as any other social situation that you have, you're part of a community at work when you go and teach English in Japan, or when I'm working at my contract, which I'm just finishing up. I have a community there. I have a certain amount of rules there. I have a different community with my family. There's a certain set of rules and things that we all abide by and we all share.
Yeah, so, with your girlfriend, you have a certain...
Exactly.
That's a micro community. You have a certain set of rules with her.
Yeah, right down to two, right down to a marriage, right down to anything like that, right up to a judicial system where you're governing millions of people. There are all these different communities and they all have rules. So can art go too far? It depends on what community you're in at that point. And if you're opting into that community, whatever that community may be, I think it's your responsibility to understand what their rules and practices are and abide by those. It's like going abroad. So people have different customs. That different community has different customs.
There's a billion of them in Japan, man.
Exactly.
Billion.
Yeah. And so it's going to be very different to the community that you were part of back home, isn't it?
Yes.
But it is your responsibility going there to understand what those rules are and abide by them, right? It's not their responsibility to tell you what they are necessarily. I mean, it's helpful, because we can't know all of the rules. But I think it's our responsibility when joining a community, whatever that community may be, is to try and understand those rules as best we can. If we didn't understand a rule and we're not necessarily reprimanded, but advised that we're in breach or will be in breach of those rules because of X, Y, and Z, then it is our responsibility to A, then abide by those rules, or B, leave that community.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. That sounds quite sort of individualistic, libertarian of me. Fucking be an individual, and you have some responsibility. But I think that's it, really.
Yes. Yeah. Take some responsibility.
Yeah. You have the complete right to be offended, but you also have the right to remove yourself from that situation or that community. If that's not being forced upon you, if this is passively there and you're, actively looking at something or partaking in something or engaging in something, you also have a right to walk away. And really, if you want to, it's your responsibility to do that. It's not someone else's responsibility to take you away from that. It's your responsibility as a human being, as an adult, to walk away from that. If it's a child, great. I have someone who looks after them. Then you've got a responsibility for a child to bring them into that community as well. Yeah, it's you then have if you have a child, then you have a responsibility for a small human who may not understand rules just yet. It is your then responsibility to advise them of these rules, let them be part of communities that are, I guess, suitable for them, I guess, for want of a better word. Yeah. And to take them away from situations and communities which don't serve them.
Yeah. But if you're bringing a child into your life, you've got to adapt to your small community to accommodate that child
and add new rules to that community which your community will abide by. And if you have a community which can't abide by a rule of a tiny child, then you should be taking yourself away from that community. Surely. That sounds simple.
Where it gets muddy, it does sound simple. Where it gets muddy is people getting into a community, people, and then going, I'm going to exert my will over this community, and I'm going to change it and reshape it in an image that I think is correct. And that's where we have issues. That's how you. That's authoritarian and tyrannical. That's how you get a.
Yeah, that's dictatorship at that point, isn't it?
Well, yeah. It's a coup. What it is, it's a coup, and it's sort of a You end up being a dictator.
Yeah,
it's how you get a Hitler. Because that's what he did, man. He got into a community and he changed it in his own image. So, also be careful of those people.
Yeah,
take some responsibility and be careful of those people that are trying to exert their will upon you.
Okay, so if we put that muddy water into our answer, so I think we've agreed that we have a personal responsibility in communities to abide by their rules or leave. So if we have a community where there is a figurehead of some kind who is trying to change that community for the worse. I mean, whether that's subjective or not, any kind of community where you feel that
it would
someone.
I think
it
could be subjective, it could be objective.
Yeah, I think
depending on the community and depending on how they want to change it.
Definitely, and I think it's sort of scalable for all these kind of communities, right down to your marriage, right up to your, your huge communities. If there's someone there who you believe is gonna fuck this community up, basically, then I think you also have a responsibility to, again, either leave that community, it depends on it, it depends on what kind of community it is, or...
Yeah, it's very muddy. It's incredibly muddy there, because then you're looking at... Because then how do you know? That's very muddy.
Because we're looking at... So you're looking...
I think we're stepping away. I think we're stepping away from a fence there.
I think
we're moving into different territory.
We're looking at sort of national communities and dictators now, aren't we? We've gone somewhere very different.
A little, yeah. We've sort of branched off. I think I derailed this with Hitler.
No, I think it's okay though. So right, let's cut off the nation thing at the moment, because being responsible in a nation is probably a bit different from any other community. So if you've got someone who's going to change your community, everything but a nation, smaller down, right down to your loved ones, right up to, say, what's a big... So, right, a workplace. Workplace is big, anything bigger than that?
Well, I mean, we're sort of talking about toxic people, aren't we?
Yeah. And I think that the rules still kind of stand. That you still have a responsibility to move. You have and a right to move away from that. You know?
Yeah. You sort of go, it's not for me. So so there's another thing. So let's sort of... Oh boy, let's look at it this way then. You need to... I feel like if you need to you need to take personal responsibility, and you kind of need to take your head out your behind at the same time.
Yeah.
So and you've got to sort of recognize that people don't agree, and you're not going to agree with people all the time.
Sure.
And what is offensive to you is not necessarily going to be offensive to other people.
Sure.
Let's go. So be self-aware and be aware of other people. And that's that.
Yeah. And ask, what do you mean? As we said.
And ask, what do you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Take personal responsibility.
I think that's the simple way of saying it.
Yeah, because it all falls back to this personal responsibility. You have a personal responsibility to abide by the rules. You also have a personal responsibility to clarify your understanding of the situation, and of your understanding of understanding reality in all its forms. If you don't understand, then you have a personal responsibility to either don't care about it and just move away from that and make it a non-issue in your life, or you have a responsibility to clarify that if that is going to be important for you, if you're going to remain as an active thing with whatever this thing is. If it's it's a belief system. We were talking about, when you were in Austin, and there was the pro-life people there.
Yeah.
Now, if that's going to be an active thing for you, if this is going to be a point of contention in your life, you see these people pro-life, you don't agree with pro-life. Now, you could either shout at them, which seems short-sighted, or
well, that's not going to solve anything.
Or if you could walk away from this protest and make it a non-issue in your life.
Yeah.
If that's not possible for you, and this has offended you in some way, it's probably better for you in the long run to have a conversation with these people, because chances are...
the reason I did just put in my own thing there. The reason I did was because I'd not really been exposed to pro-life arguments. I've been exposed to a lot of straw men and a lot of sort of they're the devil, you shouldn't listen to them. I'm like, well, what are they on? Well, I don't know. How do I know?
That just sounds so
How
lazy.
do I know what they're
doesn't it?
saying?
That just sounds so lazy. You know, that they're evil people. I refuse to believe that so many people are evil in this world. I'm sure if there's 1% evil people in the world, that's what, like 700,000 people. That's still quite a lot of people. But 7 billion in the world.
That's the thing. It's too muddy.
Yeah.
Like I've said this before, it's too muddy. That is way, like, you can't. That's too much, mate. You can't. It's the most contentious issue with some of the biggest ramifications, I would say, on that left-right spectrum.
And the answer is very different depending on the community you're a part of, as in national community, isn't it? Because our situation
if you're
in the UK is very different to what's happening in the US at the moment.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what it would be like in Japan. I have no idea what it'd be like in Japan.
Oh, I have no idea what it is in Japan.
I'm not really entirely sure what it's like in New Zealand. I think it's a bit more strict than it is in the UK, from what I can tell.
Okay. Right.
And I mean, their healthcare system is different out here anyway, for one.
Yeah. Is it privatized?
Kind of, yeah. If you walk into A&E and it's not an accident, I think you've got $800 just to sit there and be seen. So privatized to an extent, if not completely privatized.
I think Japan's is privatized to an extent. There's health insurance and things like that.
So yeah, that is.
I don't know enough about it.
Obviously, it's a muddy topic, and it's going to depend on the national community you're part of as well.
It's part of why we haven't touched it.
Yeah, because all of the big stories that are coming out of it are from the US, and neither of us know really anything about it out there, do we?
No, I know the surface level stuff. I do look at it. I do look at it quite a lot.
Yeah,
and I know surface level bits, but I mean, I'm not American. I don't really. To be honest, American politics is like an escape from British politics for me.
yeah.
Because theirs is so much more entertaining. And also, it's also a big warning for where we're going potentially. Regardless of your sort of stance on politics, the US is a warning of where we can go. Very, very tribal, very hostile. We're already there a little bit, but it could be, it could always get worse. But have we answered the question? Probably, yeah.
I think
we've
so.
Sort of answered it.
I think so.
Sort of.
Can art go too far? Well,
it's subjective.
Yeah, but it's subjective.
It depends.
It's subjective in a different way. That there's some ways that you can change that subjectivity into objectivity. It depends on the community in which you are a part of. I mean, not even art. You can broaden that word out. Can something be too much? Well, that depends on the community that you're part of in that situation. Now, right, let's go. I'll give an example. Right. So,
okay,
we're going to go into sexy land, Matt.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, sexy land. Okay.
Sexy land. Okay. Right. So, let's say someone really likes. Right. Okay. We'll do full circle. Go back to Gigi. Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Right.
Let's go back to Gigi Allen.
Eating and putting poo on himself.
Okay.
Now, some people like that in a sexual sense.
True.
Now, is pooing on people going too far? We can exchange art for pooing on people. Now, if we look at different kinds of communities that we're part of, we can assume that we can work it out. Now, in like a two-person relationship, if you're married or have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or you're polyamorous, doesn't matter. as long as you're in a sexual relationship with this person. Now,
Mhm.
you'll probably have rules if you're in a relationship on whether or not you can poo on your partner.
One would assume.
That could be a yes, that could be a no.
Right.
So, is it too much in that relationship? Depends on the rules. Is it too much in a different community, such as where you work, Matt? Now, probably yes. I think somewhere within your contract, it will say that you can't poo on anyone at work.
Mm. Well, yes. Well, yes, definitely. Yeah. But then there's the rules for the students. You can't poo in the room.
Uh-huh.
But some students are very, very, very young,
Uh-huh.
and they might poo in the room.
But you, as an adult, because we looked when we said about the small children, it is your responsibility as an adult, if you have a small child, in order to tell them about the rules.
Yeah.
So I think they're okay. They're golden with the rules. If they poo themselves, sucks to be them. But
well, if a kid, typically what happens if a kid is in a classroom situation, they poo themselves, they immediately fall into despair.
Yeah, because
like,
they have
I've broken the rules.
Yeah.
And it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And at that point, like socially, at that point, you learn really, really early on in your life
that
you can't poo in front of people.
Is largely frowned upon unless you and your partner are loving coprophiliacs.
Well, I mean, like when you're like a child.
Yeah.
I don't think if you're having that conversation with a child.
No. I just
while
took
you're potty training them.
No, I don't think you're going to be. Oh, God.
No, but like I mean, like potty training. Jesus, I mean, like potty training. Like you learn from an early age. Like you go here. Yeah, you go to the toilet.
Yeah.
Or to the potty or whatever, and you don't do it in your clothes.
Yeah.
So even at an early age, certain things are not okay. Like, which is why when a kid, I mean, if you cast your mind back to like, I don't know if you remember like nursery school.
I remember some things, yeah.
But whenever something like that happened, there would be some kind of freak out. Because you get socialized.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but I think basically, TLDR on what I was saying was that you can expand that question out to be pretty much everything, and the answer will largely be the same. It depends on the rules of the community that you're in.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sure.
Is it okay to chop someone's finger off? Generally, no, unless they give you, blanket right to chop their finger up and eat it. Some people I'm sure have done that in the past. Set up a contract.
That's a fetish in and of itself.
Yeah, all different things. Is it okay to take someone's property? Most of the time, no, unless they say it's okay to do that.
That's complicated because Robin Hood exists.
Existed.
And you have the Robin, and you have no, in a broad sense, exists, right?
Okay.
So you have that narrative of stealing from the rich to give to the poor. So is it wrong?
In this circumstance,
well, I mean,
yes.
It depends.
Then he's right. Okay, he's in two different communities. He's in a national community where theft is prohibited. He is in a different community, Robin Hood and his merry men.
Subjugated by a tyrant.
Yeah. He's in another community, but his community says it's okay.
Well, I mean, it comes down to personal responsibility again there.
Yeah.
So he's got his community. Well, he's got the national community of laws under a tyrant.
The Sheriff of Nottingham.
Which is Sheriff of Nottingham.
Yeah.
And you've got the people who he's sort of subjugating, who are the people of not the merry men, but I mean like the people, like the common people,
Mm-hmm.
who he's basically stealing from
Mm-hmm.
with I don't know, exorbitant taxes or whatever the hell it is, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So also he's then breaking a rule.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in that sense, then the Sheriff of Nottingham is breaking one of the rules of theft,
Yeah.
and it's Robin Hood who is essentially righting that wrong, righting that injustice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then you can, yeah, at least that in the context of the story, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I'll take that. Yeah.
Okay.
Because we're now squarely in the realm of like virtue ethics and what we ought to do in certain situations.
Mm.
We've gone all over the shop. This one, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's gone everywhere.
Yeah. Any final words? Because I think we've worked it out. We've worked the question out. Have some personal responsibility. Follow the rules. If you don't like the rules, leave that community. Job done.
Uh-huh. Any final words? Well, let's talk about social media. No, let's not. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. We killed that. We killed that topic.
Social who?
Yeah. YouTube doesn't necessarily like that we killed it.
Yeah,
but,
I'm trying to bloody upload it, aren't I?
Yeah, we've had some issues. We won't get into that here, but yeah, it's yeah. No, yeah. I think we're personal. Yeah, take responsibility for your own offence. That's what I'll say.
Be a
It's a good way to go.
Be a grown up. If you're not a grown up, ask a grown up for assistance.
I feel like that's been sort of the final word on most of these. Be a grown up. Be an adult, for God's sake.
Yeah. No, right. So, right, before we leave, Matt, because you know more about politics and things like that, and I'm bloody useless at them. So, if we look at our little 4-point like compass, our political compass, you've got the left and the right, and then you've got the up and the down. So, left is being a liberal, right's conservative, libertarians up or down. What's the
libertarians down?
Authoritarian is up. Okay, so libertarian. Am I right in saying that that's personal responsibility area?
Well, libertarian comes from liberty, comes from freedom, comes from you governing yourself. So yes.
Right. Okay. So then we slowly get. So if we look at far right of the right, that's fascism. The far left is communism. The far
it's
far down like anarchism.
Let's clarify that. So fascism would be like the far. Well, actually, fascism isn't even. It's not. Fascism isn't right. Let's clear that up.
Okay.
Fascism is up. Up to the very, very top, which is the top authoritarian.
Okay. What's far down?
G.G. Allen.
Are we looking
like no, seriously, like
anarchy,
far down is basically anarchy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do whatever I want
because
I'm me.
I'm me. Yeah.
I walk out the door, I see my neighbor, I blow her head off.
Right.
Because I can. Like that's far, far, far down.
Okay.
You're not governed by any social norm or social rule or society in general.
Interesting. Didn't realise I was a bit of a libertarian at heart.
Which is why I pay no attention to left-right, because left-right is bollocks.
It doesn't make
I pay way more attention to up-down.
That seems more like important, doesn't it?
Yes.
It does, doesn't it? Because left and right, I mean, they've got different views, but authoritarian means you're solely controlled by the state, right up at the top. And right down at the bottom, everyone controls themselves and there's no government.
Yeah, left right is like the bullshit tribes basically,
Yeah.
and up down is what actually matters.
Interesting.
That's
I
why
just-
when people ever ask me,
Hmm.
or people assume that I'm like whatever, I go,
Hmm.
no. It's like I remember doing my CELTA. Someone said, like, we're all lefties here. Obviously, we're all lefties here, and I sort of went, well. And she was like, oh. And she was like, oh, are you a right? Oh, I didn't think you were a righty.
Yeah.
And I was like, no,
No, not really.
And she was like, but this is the funny thing. She went, oh, so you're a Blairite. I was like, no. But she said it was so fun because Blairite, I guess, would be sort of that's to non-British people who don't know about Tony Blair.
Well,
he was like sort of a centre-left politician.
Yeah.
Considered very sort of centrist and wishy-washy.
Right of the left, basically.
Yeah. Right to the left, left to the right.
Yeah.
I thought. I mean Blair. I'm talking about Blair.
Yeah.
That's what Blair was.
Mm-hmm.
And the way she said Blairite.
Yeah.
Was like she'd said like paedophile.
Like she said a dirty word.
Like, yeah. Oh, so you're a paedophile.
It was like she was saying,
you're a Blairite.
Oh, so you're a coprophiliac, aren't you? Not a thing.
So you like bestiality or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
no.
I was like, no, not one of them either. I'm not a Blairite. I just sort of, I don't really know. I pay no attention to left right because it's just nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, like, people on the left right spectrum really hate people like me who sort of don't want to be tribed.
Yeah.
If I was at least if I was militant about it, I think they would. I tend to just sort of go like, okay. I just tend to sort of like listen to what people are on about and go like, okay, I get you.
Oh, so you're a moderate, are you?
I don't. No, not really. I'm just like, I just.
You're a reasonable person, are you?
You fuck.
you beta cuck, reasonable person, you. How dare you have
you beta cuck, libtard, Nazi,
gammon,
racist, gammon, liberal, communist, fascist, sexist, woman-loving, cuck, pig, dog, goat. I'm like, well, not really.
Well, yeah. I think that's it for Big Talk Caffeinated and Opinionated. Cannot go too far. Depends on your rules. If you don't like them, leave the community. Yeah, like, subscribe, ring bells, do all of that, or don't. You know, I'm not going to tell you what to do. That's the rules of this community. You can take those, or you can fuck off.
Yeah, do what you like. Agree, disagree, whatever. Love
what
to
do you
hear
reckon
from
our
you.
rules are, Matt? Do you reckon we're like? Do you reckon this like here is like an anarchist, like, little community that we have here, where just everyone can say whatever they want, and they can like and they subscribe, they can do whatever they want, or they can just not watch our show.
Rule number one: there are no rules.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Interesting.
We have loose rules.
Yeah, like if you want.
Keep it civil. Keep it civil is the only.
Be
rule,
nice to each other. Have grown up, responsibility, and remember that you're not real and are flying through space. Yeah. Love you all, and see you next week, where we'll be talking about something else. I haven't really thought about what we're going to talk about.
We may. Should we drop the bombshell that we might have a?
No.
We may have a chum.
Oh, well, you've done it now.
Well, we can cut it.
No, I can't, because I just whack it up now. No, right, okay. So, do you want to introduce this, Matt? We've got a bit of news, guys, before we go.
Yeah. So we may have a guest. We may have a guest coming on in a future instalment.
Yeah.
in potentially a very soon future installment.
Yeah.
Matt's
been schmoozing with
I've been networking
with people, and we've been toying around with an idea of getting guests on and things like that, and we're going to pitch it with a friend of Matt's, and we're going to see if we can let one more person into our community, and if he plays by our rules or not, which I'm sure he will, because there's not many rules.
Yeah, keep it civil is the one rule.
Yeah. And if you want to be part of our community, i.e. come and talk to us for a couple of hours, let us know, and we'll have a chat.
Yeah, we will.
So make good decisions. Pull on yourself if you want. I don't care. And we'll see you next week. Later.
Laters.